It just meant I was busier than normal because I wasn't doing my routine thing. You know how that is? I just want to thank Amu Mataji and Lenisha for setting up this session again. We've been doing that every week since we started.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Good service, amazing, thank you.
Yeah. It'd be nice if we could see some more faces on the screen. Always helps when we're having a discussion to see who we're speaking to, because often we just like speak to some initials in a black box. It's not as engaging, I would say. So if you have the ability to use video, that would be appreciated. Okay, so I think we could begin. I don't know if any more are going to join now. So let's start with the invocation prayer. Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I will first of all read the principles of good sadhu sangha. In the meantime, we'd like to see if any of you will volunteer to read. I can see Jai Prakash Prabhu has kindly put himself forward first. Anyone else would like to read, put your name down in the chat box. As we've been doing in previous weeks, feel free to jump in and comment and question. This isn't a lecture or a class. It's a discussion group. It's a reflective reading group. Everyone will have something to share because we're all reading the same thing. And we all have a different level of understanding, and all of those are nice to hear about. So we're on principle number 6, I believe. No, sorry, number 7 even, because I think we missed doing this last week. So principle number 7 is accept that there can be different valid understandings. Don't debate. So interesting one, because especially with Krishna book, there are different darshanas. There's different, even the different acharyas have had different visions of Krishna's pastimes. So it's not that they argue with one another over what's correct and what's incorrect, and but all of those acharyas have valid viewpoints. And similarly, we can take any bona fide point of view. Even Srila Prabhupada, if we are quoting Srila Prabhupada, we'll find in one place Srila Prabhupada says one thing, another place Srila Prabhupada says another thing on the same topic. And that's also okay, providing we understand what is the reasoning that Prabhupada is saying that. So it creates nice discussion to understand how Prabhupada says something in one place, another place was different. So these are all wonderful aspects of having different and valid viewpoints. Okay, so I think we're ready to begin, and I think we're at the paragraph from the 6th chapter, Putna killed, which begins the elder gopis of Vrindavan. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so just up to this point, last week was a really wonderful discussion, wasn't it? Can anyone remember some of the points that we spoke about? one thing that comes to my mind is we spoke about the cows and the importance of cows and the Archuman mantras and the Tilak mantras and how they protect us. Anyone else could remember anything from last week? Long time ago. Unless you watched the video recording in recent days.
Basically, the protection of women, Brahmins, cows, children all came into that equation.
Yeah.
Also, Krishna sort of has his eyes closed when Putna sort of is trying to kill him. So is giving Putna the motherly sort of affection as well.
Yeah, that was really amazing. That was a good example of having different viewpoints for the same thing. Krishna did one thing, just simply blinked or closed his eyes. And there were so many reasons why Krishna did that one thing. Yeah, nice point. Anyone else? Remember something from last week? We discussed the reason what Putana represents, isn't it? Does anyone remember that? All the different demons represent different anarthas, unwanted bad habits or bad qualities in a materialistic heart.
Also, there was talked about how somebody's dressed up and the appearance deceives. Like Putna was dressed up quite well, and people just accepted her on the looks that she must be okay. So, without looking at the inner side of somebody. So it's easy to trust somebody quite without even knowing them before.
Yeah, like judging at face value and having that kind of acceptance innocently. Yeah, we spoke about that too.
Yeah, Putana represents a false guru.
Yeah, that's right. Well remembered. You remember that, right? Very good. Putana represents the false guru, or a person who doesn't have a proper understanding, who mixes their understanding with a materialistic understanding. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so these are some of the things we covered last week. So we're beginning again this, like I said, from the elder gopis of Vrindavan, that paragraph in chapter 6. And we've got 2 volunteers for reading. So that's going to be quite a lot of reading for you, unless everyone else chips in a little bit.
I think others should try and chip in a bit.
Yeah, you always get the same 2, isn't it? You guys are most enthusiastic. Huh?
Okay, no worries.
I don't mind putting myself down for number 3 then.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. Very well. The elder gopis of Vrindavan were so absorbed in affection for Krishna that they wanted to save him, although there was no need to, for he had already protected himself. They could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, playing as a child. After performing the formalities to protect the child, Mother Yashoda took Krishna and let him suck her breast. When the child was protected by Vishnu mantra, Mother Yashoda felt that he was safe in the meantime. All the cowherd men who had gone to Mathura to pay tax returned home and were struck with wonder at seeing the gigantic dead body of Putna. Nanda Maharaj recalled the prophecy of Vasudev and considered him a great sage and mystic yogi. Otherwise, how could he have foretold an incident that happened during his absence from Vrindavan? After this, all the residents of Raj cut the gigantic body of Putna into pieces and piled it up with wood for burning. When all the limbs of Putna's body were burning, the smoke emanating from the fire created a good aroma of a guru. This aroma was due to her being killed by Krishna. This means that the demon Putna was washed of all her sinful activities and attained a celestial body. Here is an example of how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all good. Putna came to kill Krishna, but because he sucked her milk, she was immediately purified, and her dead body attained a transcendental quality. Her only business was to kill small children. She was only fond of blood, but in spite of being envious of Krishna, she attained salvation because she gave her milk to him to drink. So what can be said of those who are affectionate to Krishna in the relationship of mother, who with great love and affection always serve him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the super soul of every living entity?
One thing which I picked up in this paragraph is that so of course we know when there's a dead body, the smell is usually very horrendous, huh? But in this case of Putana, her body, when it was burning, it smelled of aguru. Aguru is one of the fragrances which is used in incense, in the incense sticks we offer to Krishna. So that's aguru. It smells very nice. So why did her body smell like that?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's because Lord Sri Krishna touched it or sucked the blood out of. It's the transcendental. His anything that he would touch or would become wonderful rather than what she's really made of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's mentioned that because of the contact with Krishna, then it's her fragrance was also beautiful. So it's mentioned actually then by the commentaries of the Acharyas. I think it's Sanatana Goswami. He mentions that therefore the fragrance of Krishna is actually a guru. Krishna's own fragrance is a guru. Huh? So then when Krishna touched her, then his fragrance also went on to her. Huh? Like, I don't know if there's any mothers here, they have that experience of if they're breastfeeding the child, then they have they have like the towel, of the baby. I don't know the name. The muslin, and it smells like the child, isn't it? So it becomes like that. So similarly, when Krishna was being fed by Putna, some of that fragrance, it rubbed off onto her, you could say. So Krishna has that fragrance of aguru. If you want to know how Krishna smells, next time you're at the temple shop, pick up some aguru incense. Anyone else like to share?
Yeah, because Putna's body has been purified. That's why, as well, isn't it?
It's a pure fragrance, aguru.
So that's a total transformation.
Yeah, she became transformed. Even her body, which she left behind, became transformed. It's nice to see you both again after missing you last week.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Continue now, Prabhu.
Okay. It is concluded, therefore, that even a little energy expended in the service of the Lord is one immense transcendental profit. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. I won't try to read that. Devotional service.
Swalpam apasyasya dharmasya trayate mahato payat. Krishna says that even a little endeavor on this path can save one from the greatest danger.
Okay.
That's from, I believe, chapter 2 in Bhagavad Gita, without having checked.
Okay. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is so sublime that even a little service rendered to Krishna, knowingly or unknowingly, is the greatest transcendental benefit. The system of worshipping Krishna by offering flowers from a tree is also beneficial for the living entity who is confined to the bodily existence of that tree. When flowers and fruits are offered to Krishna, the tree that bore them also receives much benefit indirectly. The archana process or worshipping procedure is therefore beneficial for everyone. Krishna is worshipable by great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, and Putna was so fortunate that the same Krishna played in her lap as a little child. The lotus feet of Krishna, which are worshipped by the great sages and devotees, were placed on the body of Putna. People were in reverence and devotion, but automatically he sucked the milk from the body of Putna. Devotees therefore pray that if simply by offering something as an enemy, Putna got so much benefit, then who can measure the benefit of worshipping Krishna in love and affection? Therefore, only Krishna much the worshipper. Shall I finish? There's only one page left.
If there's anything anyone wants to share on this paragraph, you can stop for a moment. So I just quickly looked it up. This is from chapter 2, text 40, this verse, which is quoted. So it said that in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So that's from 240. So that's in relation to Putna. She's done a little bit of service, and that saved her from the greatest danger because she's a killer of so many babies. So you can imagine she must have had some really horrible karma awaiting her in her next life. But because one of those babies happened to be Krishna, it all changed around. Hare Krishna, I can see you have your hand up, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have just a question here, Prabhu. When flowers and fruits are offered to Krishna, the tree that bore them also receives benefit. It's mentioned here. So does it mean that the flower we pick from the tree, because it is offered to Krishna, is the tree getting benefit?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Prabhu. I have one comment as well on it. When daily I used to offer food or fruit to Krishna, when I am offering any fruit, if there is any dot on it, I won't offer it. But as soon as I take the fruit and leave it next to Krishna, and I will take it off as soon as I find if there is anything on it. But my husband used to say that fruit has to be offered to Krishna. The fruit will be upset since you're taking it off. So if you feel like that, you give another fruit to Krishna, but don't take away that fruit. Because that fruit needs some benefit from him. I don't know whether it is interlinked. I used to be kidding him, saying, no, that's wrong. We should give only the best to Krishna. But after looking at this, I feel like what he said is correct. Is that true, Prabhu?
No.
I'll let Satyanarayan Prabhu speak.
Well, basically, it's not correct. No, because Krishna is allowing us to offer that fruit and have as a prasad.
Yeah.
So we are not making an offense.
We must offer the best we can.
Okay.
So Mataji is saying if you have something which is good and something which is better, and you put what is good there, you don't take that one away. You put the good one and the better one, both.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I meant, Prabhu. If there is even a single dot in the fruit, I won't offer it to Krishna, but I will wash everything. But when I reach Krishna, if I look at that dot, I won't keep it. But my husband used to say, no, you have taken it to Krishna. The fruit will be very happy that it is being offered to Krishna. Since you're taking it off, it would be worrying. Keep it. In spite of it, keep another fruit as well, which is very good, what you feel it is good for offering to Krishna. So in that case, I will, instead of giving 2, I will give 3 or 4 on top of it, so that I'm not taking the other fruit which had got some dots or spots on it.
Yeah, but that's a reason we don't offer fruit to Krishna. Oh, okay, sometimes we offer whole fruit,
Yeah.
But normally we cut it and we take the skin off, so we know what is inside.
Yeah.
And if there is a dot, you take that little part off and you can offer to Krishna. He accepts it.
Okay, Prabhu. But I do offer only full fruit, Prabhu. I don't cut it actually.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, that's fine.
Please.
But it's nice to offer cut fruit to Krishna, you know.
Okay, Prabhu.
You can offer a whole one as well if you want to keep it a little bit longer. But it's nice to cut because it's classified as a proper service, you know, because you put more devotion in it.
Okay, Prabhu.
Because when you are taking skin off, you are very careful. Inside you will check everything, you know, and cut them in a small pieces. So you're putting devotion in it.
Oh, okay, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
But then when we have like programs, we have seen that at temples where the whole fruit is offered. So should that not be, is that not correct then?
Yeah, it is correct because it's time, place, and circumstances.
And that
Okay.
is extra.
And
Okay.
because what happens, those fruit, sometimes people don't eat there. They take them home
Yeah.
and share with family, friends. So it's ideal to, obviously you should wash them, you know, not without washing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're washed, but obviously
Yeah,
what happens is because there's so much,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
a
so much.
lot of
Yeah.
devotees will take that home.
Yeah,
So in a temples, you see that there's sort of placed as offerings, but
yeah,
then distributed.
yeah. So in that case, what is involved, what is practical, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So what is the benefit that the fruit gets? That's not actually detailed here. It says that there is benefit for the fruit or the plant which is given the fruit or the tree. So from my understanding, that plant gets a human life, and the next birth is a human life. So instead, because actually the process of samsara means you go through all of the species of life, and then finally you get human life when you burn off all of the karma. But you can jump as well. If you get offered, if that particular plant gets offered to Krishna, it jumps to human life. And then in the human life, it can choose, do I want to practice Krishna consciousness or not? Is that correct, Prabhu?
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes it's stressed, you know, that ISKCON is like a preaching movement. You have to go out and, you know, outreach and outreach. But even a pujaris, you know, they're saving so many souls, you know, just by offering the fruits that those souls have produced. The trees, there's souls in the tree, of course. So that tree has produced the fruit, and that fruit is offered to Krishna, and the tree has benefited. So even from doing puja, there's so much benefit, isn't it?
That's right.
So wonderful outreach of the pujari department. All right. I see, oh, there's a hand raise from Shashi Mataji.
Hello, Prabhu. I just wanted to ask, why does Putna go around killing all the babies?
Yeah, I can keep that as an open question. Who would like to respond to that?
Was this not the direction from Kans to say any babies born within like a 10-day range should be killed?
Yes. Yeah,
Because
that's what
he
I
didn't know who would be that baby that was transported from Mathura to Vrindavan. So he just gave an order for every baby to be killed.
Yeah, it wasn't Putna's own idea. She was influenced by Kamsa.
Okay.
Yeah, and she knew that if she wouldn't obey Kansa's order, she would be killed by Kansa. So why not be killed by Supreme Person? She knew Krishna was a Supreme all the time.
Okay.
So that's
Thank you.
Okay, Prabhu.
Although Putna was an evil spirit, she gained elevation just like the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clear that the cows and the elder gopis who offered milk to Krishna were also elevated to the transcendental position. Krishna can offer anyone anything from liberation to anything materially conceivable. Therefore, there cannot be any doubt of any salvation of Putna, whose bodily milk was sucked by Krishna for such a long time. And how can there be any doubt about the salvation of the gopis who were so fond of Krishna? Undoubtedly, all the gopis, cowherd boys, cows, and everyone else who served Krishna in Vrindavan, love and affection were liberated from the miserable condition of the material existence. When all the inhabitants of Vrindavan smelled the good aroma from the smoke of burning Putna, they inquired from each other, where is this good fragrance coming from? And while conversing, they came to understand that it was the fumes of the burning Putna. They were very fond of Krishna, and as soon as they heard that the demon Putna had been killed by Krishna, they offered blessings to the little child out of affection. After the burning of immediately took up the child on his lap and began to smell his head. In this way, he was quite satisfied the child was saved from the great calamity. Sri Sukdev Goswami has given a blessing to all the persons who hear the narration of killing of Putna by Krishna. They will surely attain the favor of Govinda. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 6th chapter of Krishna Putna killed.
So I have a question. So why is it then said that here, not in the last paragraph, but the one just before, that everyone in Vrindavan who served Krishna with love and affection were all liberated from the miserable condition of material existence? Why is it said that they were all liberated? Does anyone know?
Because were they not doing some service or something to do out of love for Krishna as opposed to feelings that were of hate or killing or something like that? So Putna, who had those feelings, would be liberated, then surely it makes it sensible that people that are serving Krishna out of pure love, they don't want anything in return, would also be in the same boat, i.e. be liberated.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Does anyone else have any other reasons? Any thoughts on that? So Krishna, I was thinking, he performs his pastimes always in the spiritual world, yeah? But he expands his pastimes into the material world so that those who are in the material world, they can join in the pastimes of Krishna too. So, and then those who don't join in the pastimes of Krishna in the material world, they can hear about the pastimes of Krishna. So, so one is the blessing of someone who's in the material world joining the pastime of Krishna. Yeah. So when we become liberated, it's said that we don't just go straight back to Godhead. Our next birth becomes one in the material world again. But in the material world where Krishna is doing his pastime, we become part of that. So all those persons who were there and they witnessed the killing of Putana, they also were becoming liberated themselves. Many of course, Krishna comes with his eternal associates, like his mother and father, Srimati Radharani, Balaram, and so many Gopas and Gopis. But then there's also those who have joined the pastimes. And then there's also a benefit that Krishna gives for those who are even hearing the pastimes. Sukadeva Goswami gives the blessing as well for those even who hear the pastimes about Krishna. Isn't it? So both ways, there's blessings. Because by hearing the pastimes of Krishna, next life we join the pastimes of Krishna. Okay, so Prabhu, would you like to continue unless there's any other comments?
Yeah. Chapter 7, the salvation of Trinavarta. What does that mean, Trinavarta?
Trinavarta is the whirlwind demon. We're going to read about him now.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always full with 6 opulences, namely complete wealth, complete strength, complete fame, complete knowledge, complete beauty, and complete renunciation. The Lord appears in different, complete eternal forms of incarnation. The conditional soul has immense opportunity to hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord in these different incarnations. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Janma Karma Cha Me Devyam. The pastimes and activities of the Lord are not material. They are beyond the material conception. And the conditional soul can benefit by hearing such uncommon activities. Hearing is an opportunity to associate with the Lord. To hear his activities to evolve one's transcendental nature. Simply by hearing, the conditional soul has a natural aptitude to hear something about other conditional souls in the form of fiction, drama, and novel. That inclination to hear something about others may be utilized in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, that one can immediately evolve his transcendental nature. Krishna's pastimes are not only beautiful, they are also pleasing to the mind.
I don't have anything to add on this, if anyone would like to. Otherwise, Prabhu, please continue.
Okay. If someone takes advantage of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, the material contaminations of dust accumulated in the heart due to long association with material nature can be immediately cleansed. Lord Chaitanya also instructed that simply by hearing the transcendental name of Lord Krishna, one can cleanse the heart of all material contamination. There are different processes for self-realization, but this process of devotional service, of which hearing is the most important function, when adopted by any conditional soul, will automatically cleanse him of the material contamination and enable him to realize his real constitutional position. Conditional life is due to the contamination only, and as soon as it is cleared off, then naturally the dormant function of the living entity rendering service to the Lord awakens. By developing his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, one becomes eligible to create friendship with the devotees. Maharaj Parikshit recommended from practical experience that everyone try to hear about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. This Krishna treatise is meant for that purpose, and the reader may take advantage of it to attain the ultimate goal of human life.
So here, it's further elaborated on the benefits of hearing, isn't it? So there's 2 types. There's soul in 2 conditions, isn't it? There's one who is liberated and one who is conditioned. Yeah. Does everyone know what that means? Or if you like, you can ask. I trust everybody understands the difference. Liberated, it means that the soul is free from material life, and conditioned means that the soul is repressed by material life. Srila Prabhupada once, the devotees, it was very hot in India, so they wanted to relieve him of the the heat and the disturbance of the hot weather. So they said to Srila Prabhupada, this was in Mayapur in his room, Srila Prabhupada, can we arrange for your air conditioning? So Prabhupada replied immediately within a second, no, I don't want any conditioning. So this is the view of the pure devotee. I don't want anything to do with conditioned world. He's joking like that. Just came to my mind. Anyone else like to share? Otherwise, probably wouldn't mind continuing a little bit more.
Okay. The Lord, out of his causeless mercy, descends to your world and displays his activities just like an ordinary man. Unfortunately, the impersonalists or the atheistic class of men consider Krishna to be an ordinary man, like themselves, and so they deride him. This is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself, when he says, Avjananiti mam muda, the mudas or rascals take Krishna to be an ordinary man, or a slightly more powerful man. Out of their great misfortune, they cannot accept him as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes such unfortunate persons misrepresent themselves as incarnation of Krishna without referring to the authorized scriptures. When Krishna grew up little more, he began to turn himself backside up. He did not merely lie down on his back, and another function was observed by Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Krishna's first birthday, they arranged for Krishna's birthday ceremony, which is still observed by all the followers of the Vedic principles. Krishna's birthday ceremony is observed in India by all Hindus, irrespective of different sectarian views. All the cowherd men and women were invited to participate in this jubilant celebration. A nice band played, and the assembled people enjoyed it. All the alert Brahmas were invited, and they chanted Vedic hymns for the good fortune of Krishna. During the chanting of the Vedic hymns and playing of the band, Krishna was bathed by Mother Yashoda. The bathing ceremony is technically called Abhishek. And even today, this is observed
Everyone's
in all
blaming
temples.
this pandemic that and getting away with whatever they feel like it. Whatever they feel like it. You telling me that
Shall I continue?
Yeah, sure.
This bathing ceremony is technically called Abhishek. And even today, this is observed by all the temples of Vrindavan on Janmashtami Day, or the birthday anniversary of Lord Krishna.
Okay. Does anyone like to comment on here? Questions? So one thing I was thinking about the previous paragraphs we read, we didn't really go into much, but the benefit of reading or hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, people like Prabhupada says in the beginning of this chapter, how people like to hear, whether it's novels or stories, and these days, you know, songs and films, isn't it? It's a big industry, yeah. Like I live in Watford now. I just moved here recently, about actually a year ago, and the Harry Potter studio is very close to here, you know, and it's like hugely popular. It's like the biggest attraction in Watford. People come, so many people come. Even at the train station, it says, you know, the home of Harry Potter studio, and so you can see. I was just thinking like how another example is Disney. You know, Disney World. The whole theme park is just centered around children's stories, right? So we grow up hearing these stories, this like like different characters, cartoon characters. From childhood we hear about them, and then we grow up, and then the whole family goes to Disney and they all have a good time. You know, the adults, the children, they go on so many different rides, and they see all the animations and things, and so there's a whole industry made out of like hearing, you know. So because people like to hear about something mystical or magical, but all of these types of hearings are just based on what's, for lack of a better word, like a made up stories, isn't it? They're just all made up stories, yeah. But the pastimes of Krishna, imagine how wonderful it would be. I was thinking, if we could have our own, you know, Krishna world or Krishna theme park, you know, it would be so attractive, wouldn't it? So it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible because we hear about Krishna, and we want to be part of the pastimes, and it's actually possible to be part of the pastimes, isn't it? Because in the next life, by hearing about Krishna, we enter those pastimes. So, that would be a really great thing if we could have something like, the Krishna world. In Chowpatty Temple, they have a farm community which I went to visit, the Govardhan Eco Village, and on that farm, they have a whole area where they've recreated Vrindavan, and they've made all these little like models. It's like a model village. I think here in the UK they have this model village idea, where you go and you can see a small version of Paris, or you can see a small version of Tokyo or something, and you can see all the little parts, and the trains are moving in it, and then all of that stuff is like a miniature village. So they've done that in Govardhan Eco Village, and they've got all the little characters. They have made models of all of the gopas, and and they're running away from some demons or something, and Krishna saving them. And so all the different pastimes they've put all across the place. So this is like a really nice endeavor, because you go there and you can really feel Krishna's presence. It's actually something very powerful and spiritually uplifting. Even something as simple as that. So it's not ordinary, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's ongoing development, isn't it?
Mm.
So I think, I don't know, as it is already very interesting, right? So you just imagine when it's finished, it would be like a replica of Vrindavan,
Yeah, definitely feels like it.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's already.
Trying.
Yeah. So this is the power of hearing, isn't it? So by hearing about mundane things, we become attracted to these mundane places. Then by hearing about spiritual things, we become attracted to spiritual places. It's a natural connection.
Yeah.
Prabhu, sorry, I didn't get where this place was.
This is called the Govardhan Eco Village, and it's just outside of Mumbai.
Okay.
The
Thank
farm
you.
community. Yeah.
It's a Vada district.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, check it out online. Then you can go there one day.
It takes about 2.5 hours drive from Mumbai.
Well, that's not too bad if you can get to Mumbai in the first place. Prabhu, are you able to send us a link after class about this place?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. If I don't send one, feel free to bug me. Remind me.
Will do.
And now in this paragraph we just read, the last one, what's being described here? Can anyone say? Another festival.
Janmashtami? No. Janmashtami? Krishna's birthday?
Oh, Lanisha, yeah. Janmashtami, that's right. Yeah, Krishna's birthday. So, for those of you who have been with us the previous weeks, did we hear about this festival before? Yeah, Lanisha is nodding her head.
Yes.
That's right. Anyone else? Did you remember hearing about that?
In Mathura's jail, wasn't it? Krishna's birth.
Krishna was born in Mathura, that's right. But do you remember reading about a festival of Krishna's birth previous weeks? About
This
how
was
all
what-
the Rajbasis, they dress so opulently.
And then they throw food at each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it? Okay, so what makes this one different? I did some reading into this. So this is mentioned here when Krishna, in the first sentence, when Krishna turned himself from his backside to his front side, when Krishna rolls over. So in the Vedic culture, there's a ceremony for when the children, they can learn to roll over. It's called Uttishtan festival, or the Uttishtan ceremony is one of the samskars. Yeah. So this is what's being described here when Krishna turns from his back to his front. So it happens close after the birthday. So this is like a major celebration for the baby that's being described here. So it happens around, I was reading that, I think again this is from Jiva Goswami. He explains it happens in the 3rd month. When Krishna is 3 months old, then this Uttishta festival happens. So this is another opportunity when everyone came together and there was a beautiful celebration, and one of the key parts of the festival is that the child is bathed. The Abhisheka is done. So therefore the Abhishek is also done in Janmashtami. So you're right, Linisha, about that. Okay. So maybe we can have the next reader now, I think. So Linisha?
On this occasion, Mother Yashoda arranged to distribute a large quantity of grain, and first-class cows, decorated with golden ornaments, were ready to be given in charity to the learned, respectable Brahmana. Yashoda took her bath and dressed herself nicely, and taking child Krishna, duly dressed and bathed in her lap, she sat down to hear the Vedic hymns chanted by the Brahmanas. While Mother Yashoda was listening to the chanting of the Vedic hymns, the child appeared to be falling asleep, and therefore she very silently laid him down on the bed. Being engaged in receiving all the friends, relatives, and residents of Vrindavana on that holy occasion, she forgot to feed the child milk. He was crying, being hungry, but Mother Yashoda could not hear him cry because of the various noises. The child, however, became very angry because he was hungry, and his mother was not paying attention to him. So he lifted his legs and began to kick his lotus feet, just like an ordinary child. Baby Krishna had been placed underneath a hand-driven cart, and while he was kicking his legs, he accidentally touched the wheel of the cart, and it collapsed. Various kinds of utensils and dishes made of brass and other metals had been piled up in the handcart, and they all fell down with a great noise. The wheel of the cart separated from the axle, and the spokes of the wheel were all broken and scattered hither and thither. Mother Yashoda and all the gopis, as well as Maharajananda and the cowherdmen, were astonished as to how the cart could have collapsed by itself. All the men and women who were assembled for the holy function crowded around and began to suggest how the cart may have collapsed. No one could ascertain the cause, because some small children who were entrusted to play with baby Krishna informed the crowd that it was due to Krishna striking his feet against the wheel. They assured the crowd that they had seen how it happened with their own eyes, and they strongly asserted the point. Some were listening to the statement of the small children, but others said, "How can you believe the statements of these children?" The cowherd men and women could not understand that the all-powerful personality of Godhead was lying there as a baby, and that he could do anything. Both the possible and impossible were in his hands, were in his power.
Right, so Krishna is up to some mischief now, isn't it? This is where the real enjoyment of the Vrindavan pastimes begins. Huh? So anyone could share something from this paragraph? I like how it says that he accidentally touched the wheel of the cart. Just accidentally, he was flapping his feet around. Huh. So this is quite funny actually. I found it quite humorous, you know. Like, do you ever go to, like, I don't know, like a big wedding or a big occasion? Lots of families are there, and you find, like, you know, the families and, you know, the elders and the parents, they're kind of busy doing one thing, and somehow or another, all little children, they always just seem to gather together, right? And they're playing with a ball or they're playing something or another, isn't it? Right? These big functions, the children don't want to sit there and listen to all the prayers and all the hymns, isn't it? Like at weddings, you know, swaha, swaha. The children always go to the back and they're throwing something around or making a mess or something, right? Or they're fighting over some crayons or whatever it is. And then when there's some trouble, when something happens to one of the kids, then all the kids are, that person did it, you know, isn't it? So it's just like this. I was thinking it's just like this, because Krishna has knocked over this big cart, and all the elders, they come running over and they're like, who did that? You know, and the children are like, Krishna did it, you know. And the elders, they didn't believe anything. They were like, Krishna did it. He's a small baby. But he smashed this enormous cart by himself, and all the children are watching and they saw it happen. And the elder gopis and the gopas, they didn't believe the children. So this happens, right? So this is a reflection of the spiritual world. What happens in these things, you know? This happens in the spiritual world. But it's like such a joyous occasion. So what else was happening? Because Krishna had an intention as well, with knocking this cart over.
Yes, because Mother Yashoda hadn't been feeding him for the entire day because she was busy in preparing for the occasion.
Yeah. So Krishna was feeling a bit unsettled, isn't it? Yeah. So I don't know if it's mentioned here or if it's mentioned later. It's not mentioned later, I don't think. But this cart breaking has a significance as well, because there's a demon who is hiding in the cart. Does anyone know about that? Huh? Like Sipriti is nodding her head there. Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah. So there's a demon. His name is. Does anyone know? Anyone say? No. His name is Shakatasura. So there's a demon that's actually taken the form of a ghost, and he's again come to attack Krishna, or haunt Krishna in this case. And he's taken the form of a ghost and he's hiding in the cart. Yeah. And so Krishna, knowing that this demon is going to attack, again, this demon is sent by King Kamsa. Krishna knocks over the cart, and that ends the demon's life. So on one level, it seems like Krishna is hungry. Another level, it seems like Krishna is playing with all the children. And on another level, Krishna is finishing off this demon. So one activity, just the kicking of his foot, has so many different implications. Just like how Krishna, he blinked his eyes. And, you know, so many different reasons for that, isn't it? And this demon, he represents, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that this particular demon, he represents laziness in spiritual life. So this is an anartha, an unwanted habit that we have, that, you know, we're not enthusiastic. It's said utsahan, we should be enthusiastic in spiritual life. So that laziness to get up, I definitely suffer from it. You know, to follow principles, to wake up early, to chant our rounds, how many rounds we chant. So that kind of laziness can be overcome by the hearing of Krishna's pastimes. In particular, this pastime, it purifies one of laziness. So it's a very wonderful benediction that we get from hearing this pastime, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So if anyone likes to share on that, or we can continue reading. Give you a moment. Anyone?
Somewhere in the middle is very interesting, because sometimes by hearing all this unusual pastimes, is out of our knowledge or understanding. That's why it says here, how can you believe the statements of these children? the coward men and women could not understand that the all-powerful, see, it says all-powerful personality of Godhead was lying there as a baby, and he could do anything. And on top of that, both the possible and impossible were in his power. So that makes you understand, or believe.
Yeah, brilliant point. That's a really wonderful point.
Yeah.
Prabhupada really emphasizes it. Yeah, he can do anything, the possible and impossible.
So there is the three big word involved: all powerful and possible and impossible.
Yeah. Thanks, Prabhu. Amazing. Yeah, so we were just reading the other week about how Krishna's not what was that word Prabhupada used? Anamorphic or something like that, right? Do you remember? You were saying like Krishna, does anyone remember? Denisha? I think you're on mute.
And I think it was anthropomorphic. It was something like that.
Yeah, I don't really remember either. Anthropomorphic. Is that right? Yeah, so the Krishna is not anthropomorphic. He's not a baby actually. He's always powerful. He's always all powerful, even as a baby. That's actually the position of Krishna. Yeah.
He can be powerful in any form.
That's the right, yeah.
Not he can be, he is.
Yeah. Okay, so Linisha, would you like to continue?
Okay, Prabhu. While the discussion was going on, baby Krishna cried. Without remonstration, Mother Yashoda picked the child up on her lap and called the learned Brahmanas to chant holy Vedic hymns to counteract the evil spirits. At that same time, she allowed the baby to suck her breast. If a child sucks the mother's breast nicely, it is to be understood that he is out of all danger. After this, all the stronger cowherd men pulled the broken cart in order, and all the scattered things were set up nicely as before. The Brahmanas thereafter began to offer oblations to the sacrificial fire with yogurt, butter, kusha grass, and water. They worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the good fortune of the child.
You can continue.
The Brahmanas who were present at that time were all qualified, because they were not envious. They never indulged in untruthfulness. They were never proud. They were non-violent, and they never claimed any false prestige. They were all bona fide Brahmanas, and there was no reason to think that their blessing would be useless. With firm faith in the qualified Brahmanas, Nanda Maharaj took his child on his lap and bathed him with water mixed with various herbs, while the Brahmanas chanted hymns from the Rig, Yajur, and Samavedas.
Okay. Carry on, unless anyone wants to say. Okay, go ahead.
It says that without being a qualified Brahmana, one should not read the mantras of the Vedas. Here is the proof that the Brahmanas were qualified with all the Brahminical symptoms. Maharajananda also had full faith in him. Therefore, they were allowed to perform the ritualistic ceremonies by chanting the Vedic mantras. There are many different varieties of sacrifices recommended for different purposes, but the mantras are all to be chanted by qualified Brahmanas. And because in this age of Kali, such qualified Brahmanas are not available, all Vedic ritualistic sacrifices are forbidden. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore recommended only one kind of sacrifice in this age, namely the Sankirtana Yajna, or chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So, actually, if you just read one more, then we can discuss a little bit.
As the Brahmanas chanted the Vedic hymns, and performed the ritualistic ceremonies for the second time. Nanda Maharaj again gave them huge quantities of grain and many cows. All the cows which were given in charity were covered with nice gold embroidered garments, and their horns were bedecked with gold rings. Their hooves were covered with silver plate, and they wore garlands of flowers. They gave so many cows just for the welfare of his wonderful He gave so many cows just for the welfare of his wonderful child, and the Brahmanas in return bestowed their heartfelt blessings. And the blessings offered by the able Brahmanas were never to be baffled.
Hmm. Okay, thank you for reading so nicely, Lanisha. So one word is repeated here many, many, many times. What is that word?
Brahmanas.
Yeah. So this section is all about the Brahmanas. Hmm? So what can we say about Brahmanas from what we've read over this page?
They are qualified Brahmanas.
Have to be qualified, yeah. It's very important. Yeah. Like any profession, Brahmanas is considered a profession also. Like any profession, right? You would want someone who's qualified to undertake that profession, right? Like if you had to go to a doctor and the person doesn't know medicine, would you go and see that doctor? Yeah, I'm a doctor. I read some medical books. I can cure you. Would you want them to undertake how do you say a procedure on you? I don't think so. Right? Or if someone's going to teach you how to drive a car, this scenario doesn't work in India. But if someone was going to, if you had a driving instructor, you know, and he was going to teach you or she was going to teach you how to drive a car, they would better be qualified to teach how to drive a car, right? In India, it doesn't matter so much, you know. Anyone can, you don't have to have a license. You just off you go. In some places, at least. Yeah.
I like to mention something here.
Please.
It's about qualified brahmanas, not just the brahmanas. Because the brahmanas also need a guru to qualify, to be qualified. And that's why it mentioned here in this Kali Yuga, there are brahmanas, but there are not many qualified brahmanas. And that's the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay, if they are not qualified, they cannot chant Vedic mantras, because otherwise they make an offenses. And that's the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced Sankirtan Yajna and introduced Mahamantra. Obviously, Mahamantra was there before that, eternal. But Mahamantra was like Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu changed it to Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And by chanting that mantra, you don't make any offenses, because it's given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah. Wonderful points, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you for bringing those out. Important points about only someone who's qualified should actually take up the, like I said, occupation of the duty of being a Brahmana, isn't it? Yeah. So it's very natural. Like if your father knows how to, if your father's a carpenter, then it's very easy for you to become a carpenter. Huh? Like if your father knows how to do, I don't know, business, then you see it's very easy for you to do business. Like when I was in university, I remember one of my friends, his parents were like, they had many, many different businesses. And like, he wasn't studying at university. He was just like, just finding places where he could make money. It's just like, it was like inbuilt for him. It wasn't like, he only had to go to the university, for him, it was just to get that piece of paper at the end of the day. But like during university, my friend, he was just making money all the way through, you know. He was driving you know, these those cars with the soft top cars where the roof comes off and everything, and all our students were just, you know, using the bus. So, you know, he could really tune into his nature because he had that from childhood. So on one side it said that, you know, the Brahmanas, their children, they're very easy for them to become qualified if they are Brahmanas. Or Prabhu said, like, initiation, by becoming initiated by a bona fide teacher and then learning the Brahminical principles, then you can become Brahmana that way. Yeah. But not that if you're just born in the family of a carpenter, then, you know, you're just going to be able to create wardrobes and furniture and things, right? just because you've seen your dad with a hammer or something, you know. So this is the point. Anyone else would like to take any points from here?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I say something?
Hare Krishna, please.
Lovely points from both the Prabhus, thank you. Again, a bit of a random question, just a query. So the word, what is the meaning of the word Brahman? So, so if we are in this universe, not from Krishna, just in this universe, if all men come from Brahma as the origin, then does that not automatically mean that all human beings, irrespective of their caste or background, are Brahmins? Or am I getting the meaning of Brahman wrong?
Satyanarayana Prabhu, would you like to comment, please?
They recognize by their occupation and as well as well, birth as well as occupation. And there are 4 varnas, isn't it?
Yeah, Brahma, Kshatriya. Is that one?
Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra.
Yes. No, sorry, I was just asking, is there any specific meaning, Sanskrit meaning to the word Brahman? Or is it just, you know, just a random query, sorry.
Well, I don't know about, unless Prabhuji knows. That's just name of the class, isn't it? Ashram. And it goes according to occupation, their duty.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for explaining.
Yeah, they recognize by their.
Brahmanas are the learned class.
Preeti?
Yeah, I was just going to say, could it be like Brahma? Are you talking about like Panchali Mataji? Like, what does that word in itself mean? I don't know. I would just having a random guess could mean like godly or something, but not as in on that level of godliness, but just their kind of activities, you know, like could Shastriya have a meaning if you break it up, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so Prabhu, if I could say something as well. My understanding is that Brahmana means one who is situated in the Brahman. That because their activities are all spiritual, then they're situated in the spiritual atmosphere of Brahman. Rather than being more like Lord Brahma, that's he is also a Brahmana, but doesn't necessarily mean that they are coming from him. But it's their activities that they do. Their work is spiritual in nature. Whereas a Kshatriya means, Ksha means to cut, actually. It's someone who can protect by weapons. So that's like known as the etymological meaning, I think is how you say it. How you break the word down.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks.
Is that okay? That was
Yeah.
my little understanding anyway. I'm not so Brahminical myself, but just trying to remember from what I've read. I found there was one interesting point in this first paragraph of the few that we read. There's two aspects. I thought this was very practical, very important. There's two aspects to receiving blessings. So who wants to receive blessings? I definitely need blessings and want to receive blessings. Anyone? Some of you got your cameras off, so we don't know.
Blessings, Prabhuji.
So here, this is very important to note then, because here, why is Nanda Maharaj performing all of these ceremonies? Why is he engaging the Brahmanas in all this work? Because he wants his child to have blessings. This is the reason. He wants Krishna to have blessings. So he's undertaking all this work for the Brahmanas. So there's two aspects to this. And the first aspect is that the one who is giving a blessing, he has to be actually qualified. So there's a lot of statements here of what a qualified Brahmana is. Someone who can actually give blessings. Sometimes we think, as one Maharaji puts it, humorous way. Yes, yes, bless, bless, Just, take your blessing, you can get what you want. It's not, that's one type of blessing. But really a heartfelt blessing, how to achieve that is from someone who is really very qualified to give blessings. So it's important to note here what in the paragraph we read about Brahmanas, the first one, says that they were all qualified because they were not envious. If someone is envious, if they have a feeling of lacking, if they feel like they're lacking something in their own life that you have, that they want, then how will they give you a blessing, a full heartfelt blessing? Because they feel like you got something that they want. So then they don't feel like they need to give you anything, isn't it? So to find someone who is not envious. Nanda Maharaj, he was ready to give everything to the Brahmanas. His mood was like, whatever is mine is all yours. They never indulged in untruthfulness. So they don't speak any lies. They don't say, yes, yes, bless, bless in that way. But actually, what they say and what they do is the same. They were never proud. They never felt like, because I have so much knowledge and learning and education, therefore I'm better than you. I have something great to give. They never felt like that. They felt that they were just an instrument of Krishna's mercy. Upon the mercy which was coming upon them is something they could pass on, and just being like a receptacle of blessings. That they themselves felt blessed, and therefore they well-wisher of everyone, not proud. Then they were non-violent. Then they never had any claim to false prestige. So these are, Prabhupada says, this is all the qualities of bona fide Brahmanas. And actually there's so many. But these are the ones which are mentioned here. So this is the first aspect. And Prabhupada mentions, I think it was in a class I heard about this particular section, that how much Nanda Maharaj had faith in the Brahmanas. So first of all, is that the Brahmana has to have these good qualities. Now, even if the Brahmana has all these good qualities and we don't have faith in them, then how will we ever get blessing? That we don't have faith that this person is going to bless us and actually transform us and change our lives. They are ever well-wisher. Then how will we be able to receive the blessing? So there's many statements here about how Nanda Maharaj, he had full faith that the Brahmanas were qualified. First, he checked, are these Brahmanas, they're actually qualified, or they're sincere, they're trying to be servant of Krishna. So he would check that. And then secondly, he had full faith that they were performing the procedures, properly, and that because they had the right qualifications, right symptoms of Brahmanas. And with that faith, then he was able to request their blessings because he had that great appreciation for their position. So I thought this was quite instructive when I was reading this with you all. And so Prabhupada concludes in this section about how so he gave so many cows just for the welfare of his wonderful son, and the Brahmanas in return bestowed their heartfelt blessings. So this is the kind of blessing when a heartfelt blessing, one which really comes from the heart. And the blessings offered by the able Brahmanas were never to be baffled. So the eternal blessings, the blessing which you get from a pure devotee, is not like a passing thing. If a pure devotee says something to you or offers something to you or blesses you or gives something to you like that, it has immense eternal value, even small thing, even a small interaction. So in this ISKCON society, we're very fortunate because we may not have Brahmanas who, let's say, speak all of these Vedas, but as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has qualified everyone by chanting Hare Krishna, they come to this. We can all come to the same platform, and therefore we should all treat each other with that great respect and faith that and we can also be in that position of obviously of passing those blessings on to others. So just a few thoughts I had. So anyone likes to share anything about that?
Can I add something? It's like we all know Krishna is very kind to everyone, right? Because we all, whether we are devotee, non-devotee, we all children of Krishna. But only thing is, being a devotee, we know that, and non-devotees, they don't know that. So Krishna is kind to everyone, but who has got little faith, not necessarily full faith, in a Krishna, and you take one step to Krishna, and he takes 10 steps to you, towards you. So that's how, I'm just talking about how that's how it works. And who has got no faith, they just left out one side. They don't get mercy or blessing.
Yeah. So
Because Krishna gives mercy to everyone, but then they become not qualified because they don't have faith. So they don't know how to receive.
So we have to be very eager and enthusiastic, huh, Prabhu? Is that right?
Sorry?
We have to be very eager and enthusiastic.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. You know, sometimes some people say, why Krishna is partial, though he says he's equal to everyone. Because of that faith, and he is always, Krishna is what's called, captured by his devotees' love. So that's where he gets partial. He cannot control himself when the devotees love him. So that's how he's partial.
Well, I think then you don't call it partial, but he's favorable to his devotees. Yeah. And that's natural.
Yeah, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal. He's the devotee of his devotees.
Yeah.
Huh? So this is why Krishna is so attractive, isn't it? He's not like a god who just condemns everyone and he's just passes down rules to everyone, sitting high and mighty. Krishna's not like that at all. Krishna's just trying to see that everyone is uplifted, trying to see the welfare of everyone, trying to serve everyone. And we have to just be eager to receive that, isn't it, Prabhu? Like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's like if the sun is shining outside and you've got all your windows and doors closed and the curtains closed and the blinds closed and everything is closed, and then you say such a miserable day.
Yeah.
We just need to get outside, you know. So it's like that. So the sun shines on everyone's head, but we just have to be in the right. We just have to situate ourselves properly, isn't it, to receive the blessing of the sunlight.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just want to, when we were talking about like you take one step and Krishna takes 10 steps towards you. But as you further into maybe devotional service or Krishna consciousness, we are tested. Is that right? Maya can always take control. Is that correct in my understanding? Because sometimes you then, when you're trying to progress and then you go maybe back, that's Maya trying to test you, or that's just your karma?
Satyanarayana Prabhu, would you please?
My understanding is when you perform devotional service, depends how much you absorb in that. If you are fully absorbed, then you are not allowing Maya to enter in your way.
But it's Maya's job to come and try and take, I don't know, isn't it Maya's job, first of all, to try and take you away from progressing or anything?
No, that's why I said it depends on how much you are absorbed in, because if you do a devotional service purity, because I've been practicing over 30 years now, and to me,
the soul is so contaminated. I mean, I'm talking, you know, I'll talk about myself. The soul can be so contaminated with all the material contamination, and to actually practice Krishna conscious, first of all, can be unwillingly, because you want to turn to Krishna, but at the same time, because you're so because I am so contaminated, then I can just do it with like dragging my feet. So it's very easy for Maya to get hold of me, whereas but I guess you also need mercy of Krishna and other devotees. I don't know, it's slightly...
Yes, while you performing devotional service, but same time, association of devotees is very, very also important. They both go together. And as you continue your devotional service, your faith gradually increase. And as your faith increase, you become more and more purified. And you progress in your Krishna consciousness.
Because my understanding, because of our attachment to our material nature, material life, and our temporary relationship with the material world, it's hard for us to perform, and we think that is Krishna is tasting or Maya is tasting. But as we try and advance by taking, as Prabhu said, association of devotees and hearing and chanting, going through those process, I think in the end we try, because material life proper is full of problems and trouble, because we have to get out of that to get back home to Krishna. So as you advance and you have your faith increases, then you don't see as a taste, you see as a Krishna's plan, because we make our plan according to our material attachment, so-called, or whatever, or our desires are really, really strong. So we want everything, and Krishna does give us, but he doesn't give everything to us. He's only given us free will to use in whichever way. So then you come at one stage, you come to that when you understand that it's not a taste, it's my plans are, my desires and my plan making are different, but actually I'm not a controller. We think we are controller, can do everything, but then we understand the controller is Krishna. So we make the plan, but Krishna was called makes it successful, or other way, according to what he thinks we need it. That's my understanding.
And that's why Srila Prabhupada has introduced whole process to become a Krishna conscious. Even I have seen some devotees, they have so many difficulties, maybe because of their past karma or whatever, but practicing Krishna conscious very carefully and fully engagement in activities, they are always joyful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Even sometimes it makes me wonder how they, and then I think, oh, yes, because I just watch them, so, and they are always engaged in a devotional service, and they are always joyful. Otherwise, they have a difficulty for the place to live, to earn the money, many problems. But they just carry on, and they are very joyful. I always see them in a Harinam and
Thank you.
You don't see difficulties on their face at all. And it's not artificial. They are joyful naturally.
Because Krishna is not testing her, or Maya is not testing her. It's ourselves internally, It's us who are testing ourselves. That's my understanding. Because we can't, what's called, our desires and all that. And we want Krishna on one side, but we go material desires as well. So
Maya does test you, but not until you reach that level. Because when you become proud, like, oh, no, I'm a good devotee now, I can do this, I can do that. And then Maya said, okay, now it's my turn. Otherwise, I mean, my understanding, Maya doesn't taste for small thing, Sometimes you try to practice Krishna consciousness, and you like walking to the temple, and you don't, you are not being careful. What do you call it? You knock with the pole or something, and hurt yourself, and you say, oh, Maya is testing me, I'm going to the temple.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful points. Nice discussion there. Thank you so much to both of you for sharing. Thank you for your questions, Smita Mataji. I think Shashi Mataji has a hand raised as well.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just wanted some clarification with regards to the Brahmins giving blessings. So can a normal person, average person, not give heartfelt blessings? Because I believe that what your thoughts and what you feel, if you transpose that to the person, for instance, if you are giving blessings, that they do receive these blessings? Is that not possible?
Yeah, my understanding, and probably also please comment, or anyone if you wish to, is that anyone can give blessings. It's not an exclusive right of a particular caste to give blessings. It doesn't exactly work like that. So where we find these particular qualities of a person, doesn't matter what their background or occupation is, but these qualities, if someone is not envious, they can give you blessings. If someone is truthful, they can give you blessings. If someone is not violent, they can give you blessings. Anyone who is, if they have good qualities, and I mean, there's one thing being, is one thing being like a well-wisher, actually someone who can, like actually give you well wishes, give you good blessing. And there's another thing, there's, like just wishing you well, like all the best, There's nothing actually giving spiritual blessing, something spiritual, something of spiritual eternal substance. So that requires the person themselves should they should actually embody those spiritual qualities they can give. You can only give what you have. Yeah. It's not like an artificial thing as such that, but anyone who has got those good qualities, they have the ability to transmit that as well. But anyone, doesn't matter, because it's not like, you're on this step and then this step. Like, if you're down here, then you can't give blessing. If you're up here, then you can. It's not necessarily like that. But, to the degree that which someone has these spiritual qualities, to that degree they can give blessings.
My understanding is anyone can be a well-wisher to anyone, but blessing comes from purity. And then again, it varies level of the purity,
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Just we've reached time now. Is that okay, Shashi Mataji?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, anyone can give blessings. Based on the purity, that blessing will increase. And obviously, we also discussed the faith. Prabhupada mentions the faith that we have. So if we have more faith in those who have purity, then we will get the maximum benefit. That's the formula. Okay. So wonderful discussions again this week. I hope you all enjoyed that and felt you got something out of it. Yeah, I certainly did. I really enjoyed discussing with you, hearing from you. So yeah, we'll continue, of course, next week. So I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.